Hey guys, I know I'm a little bit behind the curve because I've been dealing with finals at school and stuff, and it's been pretty busy lately. But today I'm just going to take a deep dive into the Battlefield 6 Season 2 roadmap and launch notes. I'm going to try to point out the good and the bad that I've noticed beyond the surface here. Like, of course, we're just going to look at the general notes, but I heard there's some changes coming to Gunplay as well, some smaller things that aren't advertised in the trailer or in the release roadmap. And we will also take a peek at the Season 2 gameplay trailer. But I'm not going to make you watch all that because I know probably 99% of you have already seen it. But we'll see if there's any information we can deduce just from some of the images we get in the trailer. So I think most people are in agreement that the main problem with Battlefield 6 right now is the lack of large maps. And the large maps that do exist are still pretty condensed as far as the actual play area goes that you would use when you're playing on the map. So my greatest curiosity right off the bat is this new map, Contaminated, that'll come out on day 1 of Season 2. And this is kind of where the trailer comes in, because we get, a few shots of the map here. Now, obviously, I can't draw any, full-on conclusions about how big this map is going to be or how it'll play, just from a few images in the trailer. I don't know if this is them trying to showcase the whole map, or if it's just trying to give a little point of interest on the map. But I will say from this shot, you can see the tunnel that they are accentuating a lot in the trailer. So we at least know what the map looks like directly outside of this tunnel here. There are some other quick shots like this one. Let me see if I can slow this one down. Now this does still look like contamination, but I'm not entirely sure that it is. And that might sound stupid to some of you, but the reason I'm wondering if this is contamination or if this is the next map they're going to release is because they have this obvious ramp here that was probably specifically put there for the release of dirt bikes. And dirt bikes are not coming until March 17th. So you can see down here the new hardware. That is when we're getting the dirt bike. You can also see that there's a large building here with a slanted roof, windows in the top. So I'm wondering if that's this building. So this actually might not be contamination. But if we take a look at it in slow motion here. Hands left. It's kind of hard to tell how big the map's going to be honest. Now I know a lot of you probably love Battlefield 6. I'm going to be a little skeptical here. I don't mean to just shit on the game. But I will say one thing this shot has me a little worried about as the heli is turning here is it looks like we've still got this whole bowl thing going on. Like you can see there's a ridge out this way. That's something I've complained about a decent bit recently is the bowl-like design of a lot of Battlefield 6 maps. It's like they continually keep putting these low flat areas in the middle of a bunch of hills, which makes snipers extra annoying. And I know sniping's part of the game. I love sniping sometimes. But when you can be seen by a sniper from any angle outside the map, from the center of the map where most of the action is going on, it can get really annoying. Now, this shot looks like it's back on contamination because we're back in the tunnel here. There he goes in here. Looks like there's a little bit going on in there, not a whole lot. But we've just got this up here. This reminds me of the hangar on a Battlefield 5 map. Totally forgot the name of that map. It looks like we just have a walkway up here. This goes in a little bit. I think that corner there, that bright spot, is the back wall. Honestly, this area looks like it could be a lot of fun if they make the majority of the tunnel a capture point. Another mistake that Battlefield has been making in Battlefield 6 is that they'll have these big areas where they could easily put in large objectives that you fight over. But instead, they'll just put a little 20 to 30 by 30 foot border as the capture area, and it just feels like a waste of space. Like when the objective is that small, it's almost like you're guaranteed to get shot at whenever you're on the objective. It's a huge problem on Eastwood, especially toward A site and B site, I believe. Can't see a whole lot. That kind of looks like a spawn right there, like a wall barricade on the road. And you see the tank pulling out of there. I'm hoping the map goes further back than that. Otherwise, this is probably just going to be another smaller map. I hope that's not the case because this is not very much play area for 64 players. And actually one thing I am noticing is in the background on the mountain, you can see these underground hangars. But if you base it off of the trees, it looks like these are actually pretty big. It's just a matter of if we'll actually be able to go up here. But if you can, this actually looks like it could be an exciting map. I don't mind a flat residential area like this as long as that's not the whole map, But if you go through this tunnel, which we didn't really get a good angle, I can look again, but I don't think we got a good angle in the trailer of what's on the other end outside of this tunnel. But if it extends back into here and up into this mountain and maybe back here and comes all the way up the side, this map actually could be a good map for once. We can see that this road, you can see this tank going up this road. that wraps around this hill here. So that leads me to believe there is something on the other side. But overall, this map gives me a little bit of like Giants of Carlia vibes from Battlefield 4. I just noticed another broken bunker up here. Maybe you can go in. This also has windows. Like, they might have a whole network of buildings underground here, which would be awesome, because that's something I've been missing is underground areas. I'm not immediately noticing any areas where I feel like people could just sit and pick you off endlessly. Like, it looks like there's different routes to take, trees for cover, there's a rocks and here and there that you could duck behind. So yeah, I'm actually a little bit optimistic about this map. And I could try to get more info on the second map, but let's stick to what we're actually getting in a few days on February 17th. So besides that, we're getting a limited time mode, VL7 Strike, Clouds of a New Psychoactive Smoke, VL7, yeah, so that's just the smoke. I don't really have much of an opinion on this. Black Ops 7 has like the hallucinogen gas, and it's kind of annoying in that game, but that game's also a lot smaller. And one of the reasons I think it could not be annoying is because the gas doesn't actually do damage to you. It's literally just a visual effect that makes you hallucinate. And I think at some point in the trailer, it made it look like friendlies can look like enemies and enemies can look like friendlies. Maybe you see people that aren't actually there. I don't know how it'll work, and to be honest, I'm not really excited about it, but you know, maybe it could be fun. I am a little bit bummed that we're not getting 2 maps together on day 1 of season 2. We'll have to wait another month for Hagenthal Base, but if this is a good map, it could breathe a little bit of fresh air into the game. And other than that, it looks like on day 1 we will be getting 3 new weapons, a DMR, assault rifle, and a machine gun. And excuse me, actually 4 new weapons because of the Igla. And I haven't looked into what this new gadget is, HTI MK2. It's a recon gadget, a hardware suppression system. When equipped, the hardware suppressor system spots all nearby electronic and explosive gadgets, as well as targets in the middle of a lock-on process. It also describes it, a well-targeted pulse can collapse a well-placed defense. So maybe it's like an EMP pulse gun. It's kind of interesting. But to keep it from being OP, it looks like it has a recharge time and you can only destroy 3 items at once. Doesn't seem to say anything about the range on it. To be honest, I don't give a single damn about challenges, so I'm probably not going to go much into that. I'm not trying to criticize anybody that likes challenges, but to me, they've always just seemed like so trivial. Like, I just want to go in and immerse myself and shoot people. Whenever I'm running across the map, I don't want to have to worry about dealing damage with a pistol in 25 meters or less. I don't know. Just not my thing. Then also on day 1, RedSec. I'm not a huge fan of RedSec. I have very strong opinions about a battle royale even being in Battlefield. To me, Battlefield's whole thing is it's supposed to be bigger than every other multiplayer game, you know, outside of battle royales. So I just want the big experience on a multiplayer map. I don't feel like a battle royale was ever or ever will be necessary in a Battlefield game if they make the game right. So I'm not super concerned about the BR, but one thing I will say is Gauntlet is actually a lot of fun. I love that they just take sections of the large map and have these really cool, unique game modes to play just in a section of the map, which, funny enough, feels just like a multiplayer map that is as big as they should be in Battlefield 6. So we can look into Altered State a little bit. Okay, it says, survive and advance in Gauntlet, a cutthroat, knockout-style elimination mode. We know what Gauntlet is. Upgraded with new smoke features, squads need to race to compete missions while navigating the disorienting effects. Okay, so it's just the VL7 gas in Gauntlet. That could actually be fun, because it could cut off visibility and turn the match into more of like a spread out close quarters match. It's like, I don't mind close quarters, I just don't want it 24/7 when I'm playing. Like, I don't want to never be able to take a breath. So this could actually be interesting. Maybe it'll section off the Gauntlet maps a little bit more and force you not to use long range weapons. I'll probably try that out. And then last but not least, day 1, obviously we're getting the Little Bird back. I personally was never fantastic with the Little Bird, but it was a lot more fun to fly the Little Bird than the attack chopper in my opinion. But that's a little quick analysis on what we're getting on day 1. So I want to look deeper into the actual notes of things that they're patching and changing in the game. I actually like this patch note list better. It's a lot more succinct. It doesn't feel like an ad. So if you want to see the more condensed version of the notes, you go to News and Community, Latest News, and then you just click this February 13th article, 1.2.1. Okay, and here we see they are calling Contaminated a large-scale European mountainside. Okay, cool. So yeah, I might actually let myself get a little bit excited about this map, because they're specifically saying it's mountainside. That leads me to believe you can go up into that mountain, and if that's the case, then that map probably is actually going to be big for once. And I'm a big fan of the multiple underground buildings. Yeah, I'm gonna skip the battle pass stuff. Major updates, here we go. This is personally the stuff that interests me the most because I feel like something about the feel of the game is still a little off, and that's usually the case for just about every Battlefield. There's almost always problems with the game, the way the game feels and plays and the netcode and everything for months on end before they fix it, and then everybody's like, oh, this game is great. That's why I'm trying not to write Battlefield 6 completely off, because while I'm not having very much fun with it at all right now, I think that they could tweak some very small things that will make the game addictive. Their most major setback is the lack of good maps right now, because that takes time to fix that problem. But anyways, the first thing they mention is weapon balance and recoil improvements. They delivered a broad recoil tuning pass across automatic weapons alongside targeted balance fixes to improve consistency, roll clarity, and long-term weapon handling. Okay, roll clarity sounds interesting because at the moment, it kind of feels like you can use assault rifles, carbines, and SMGs in a very similar way. And one thing I miss is having to burst your weapon to be able to consistently hit shots. I like having that extra spread on SMGs. It just creates diversity, you know? Like LMGs with a bipod, they can get away with lasering things, but they have to be stationary. Assault rifles are versatile all around, but you're gonna have to burst fire them if you fire more than 6 or 7 bullets. And SMGs should require bursting from like 30 meters and up, in my opinion. So that's interesting to me. I'm excited to see what that feels like. Because gunplay itself doesn't feel that terrible at the moment, but I don't know, the diversity between weapons has not felt very satisfying to me. But I think they go into more depth here about it. We've made improvements to both how recoil behaves at a system level and how recoil is used to balance automatic weapons. So this sounds like a big change to recoil. This isn't just like a tweak. Since launch, recoil compensation could feel inconsistent in certain situations. In some cases, the amount of aim input required to counter recoil did not reliably match the recoil being applied, which could make weapons feel harder to control than expected. So I think what they're saying is the guns felt slightly off because you pull down a certain amount and it doesn't consistently work. Like you have to adjust how much you're pulling down as you're firing because the recoil is inconsistent. It sounds like they're trying to fix that a bit. With this update, recoil compensation has been made fully consistent, ensuring that the aim input required to counter recoil now correctly matches the recoil applied. I really like that. Now in a small game like Call of Duty, like where you're on these like arena-sized maps and you're just going for spastic kills, that inconsistent recoil is basically, I don't know what, 80% of the skill gap in the game. But in a game like Battlefield, where things are supposed to be more spread out and you're supposed to be more strategic and your targets are a lot further away half the time, I like the more casual feeling recoil. I don't mind some difficulty in it, like obviously if I whiff, I whiff. I don't want it to be super easy to shoot people. But when someone is head glitching a window that's, I don't know, 100 meters away and you want to burst fire them or spray some bullets at them, I like the recoil to be consistent. So this sounds like a really interesting change. I'm very curious. I'm not going to let myself get excited, but I am very curious on how gunplay will feel after this update. There will probably be a lot of people that get mad about it because they're used to the way it is now, but this sounds like a positive change that will appeal to a lot of old school players. But we'll see how the execution goes, because that's where it really comes down to it. And I'm not going to read all these to you, but I am going to read through here and see what sounds interesting, because there's a lot. This is actually just right off the bat, this one is interesting. If you've been watching my videos for the last few months, you probably saw that clip where I put Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 6 side by side, and I prove that movement is actually a lot slower in Battlefield 6, and that the quick feeling of the game actually comes down to map design and the slide and jump acceleration. But this tells me that they are directly addressing that. I think the actual problem was when you started sliding, your character got this like instant speed boost, and I think that's what frustrated people. So they're adjusting that acceleration curve, which could also be a very positive change. Oh, this is a good one. Fixed a movement extrapolation issue that could cause other soldiers to appear jittery when traversing uneven terrain or changing states. That is something I've definitely noticed a lot of. And it says they fixed it. It doesn't say they improved it, so that'll be interesting to see as well. Little stuff like that just adds to the plasticky feeling of the game. So it might not sound like a big deal, but it could really change the feel of the game, as crazy as that sounds. Okay, the rest of these just seem like little glitches that they've noticed. Yeah, they weren't lying. There's a lot of things that come down to polish that they fixed. This isn't even a big deal, but like, you know, if you're sprinting and you look down and you stop, your legs kind of like lean forward and it just looks a little awkward. They even improved that. Improved vault detection near overhangs while airborne. That's a good little change. Reduced the length of slides. That probably will make a lot of people happy. I think that's what that means. Slide impulse length. And then a lot of vehicle and weapon tweaks. Okay, they increased Battle Pass token progression. Once again, I don't care about Battle Pass, but I also don't like it when they make things intentionally hard to sell battle tokens or whatever they're called. But yeah, there are a lot of polish fixes in here. So as far as February 17th goes, those are the things that are most exciting to me. And that's mostly what I want to focus on with this video. A limited game mode. I'm not sure how I feel about all these game modes being released. I mean, they're obviously already filling a lot of servers with bots, even though it's not necessary. Player base is getting split between all these new game modes. I'm wondering how many bots we're going to have to deal with. So there you go, guys. That's the most interesting parts of the update that I think we should look out for. But here in 4 days, we'll see how wrong I am. But even then, I don't care about being right or wrong. I just really hope that this update greatly improves the game and brings a little revival back into it, because player base is dwindling. If you like this video, take a look around the channel, and if you like my content, be sure to like and subscribe. Every little bit helps me out a lot. After I finish finals, hopefully I can upload a little bit more frequently. It's been kind of difficult lately, but just know that I will keep putting stuff out anytime I'm able to. But with that, I will see you guys in the next one.